Hi, guys. I know we never got to finish the Northwest ordinances, so I'm going to finish those right now. I'm also going to cover Shays' Rebellion and the Annapolis Convention and Federalists versus Anti-Federalists from the notes we took yesterday in class. So the Northwest ordinances, we got as far as statehood. Once you were given statehood, you basically could perform all the functions of a state. Your people could vote in national elections. You could send representatives to the Capitol for both the House and the Senate. And if you lived north of the Ohio River, the area up here in black, you could not have slaves. Slavery was only permitted south of the Ohio River, and the U.S. territory only extended to the Mississippi River. So anywhere north of the Ohio, no slaves. Anywhere south of the Ohio had slaves. And this is what the United States looked like in 1787. The territory out here is known as the Northwest Territory or the Old Northwest. Again, you can see our borders only extend as far west as the Mississippi River. This is all owned by Spain, and then eventually it's given to France. So the next topic of discussion is going to be Shays' Rebellion, which took place between 1786 to 1787. It was led by a man named Daniel Shays. He was a Western Massachusetts farmer who was really angry, and one of the big causes of this rebellion is that there were these crushing state taxes on small-time farmers. Now, we know that the national government could not tax the citizens, but the state governments could tax the citizens. On top of that, the farmers were also not being paid for their service in the American Revolution. Because the federal government couldn't tax, they couldn't pay its military, so therefore small farmers were being forced to pay state taxes with no wages coming from their service in the American Revolution. So they were really angry, and they also felt underrepresented by the Eastern elites. They thought they were kind of being stepped all over. So big causes of this rebellion included no money for farmers, crushing state taxes, and a kind of anger towards Eastern people and states. They felt like Western farmers weren't being fairly treated. And so they launched this big rebellion. And this is what happened. Daniel Shays basically led a group of disgruntled farmers to the federal arsenal at Springfield, Massachusetts. Once they got there, they attempted to capture the military stores, or the military, like the cannons, the guns, and the ammo that were held there. Luckily, though, Massachusetts militiamen mustered and defended the armory and ended up killing 24 of Shays' men. But there was this really, all of a sudden, sense of fear amongst all the colonies that what if everybody did this? What if in all colonies, small groups of people started rebelling against the government? And the real fear was that most of the people that were militiamen in the states were these small-time farmers that were rebelling. So those states might not have a way to put down these small independent rebellions. And in fact, Daniel Shays had mostly small-time farmers on his side. And so the Massachusetts government was really worried that they wouldn't be able to put down this rebellion. Luckily, they did, and we didn't have any big problems come of it. The effect of this rebellion is pretty well stated here by George Washington, that he said there could be no stronger evidence of the want of energy in our governments than these disorders. Let me explain that and basically break it down into simpler terms because it's important. Washington is effectively saying the government is weak. We need to give it strength. And so after Shays' Rebellion, a big effect of it is that the politicians in Congress realize that they need to do something to give the government more power, especially have a national army so it can put down potential future rebellions. So the result of that is in 1786, they called the Annapolis Convention to discuss the weaknesses or problems of the Articles of Confederation. Unfortunately, only 5 states send representatives, and that includes New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Virginia. It's really important that Delaware's there because Delaware is a small state, which shows that they're willing to work with the bigger states to try and make this thing better. Their goal was to address trade barriers that limited trade and commerce between the states, a big issue being the common currency problem. But because only less than half the states showed up, they couldn't really do anything. So what they did was they drafted a report to Congress. They sent it to Philadelphia to call another meeting of all the states to meet to examine the areas broader than just trade and commerce, effectively the problems of the Articles of Confederation. that convention that they call in Philadelphia is eventually going to evolve into the Constitutional Convention, where they're going to realize that the articles are broken, we can't fix them, we need to write a new document. So the whole reason long-term the Annapolis Convention is important is because it gives birth to the Constitutional Convention, which comes after it in Philadelphia. The short-term result is that nothing really gets done, nothing really happens. This is where we get into the two political parties that existed at this point in time, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. So the Federalists supported the idea of a constitution. They wanted a government led by an aristocracy, and they had no fear of a centralized governmental authority. They thought bigger government would be better. Anti-Federalists were really afraid of a strong central government. They were really concerned that that would lead to another king. They thought the states should have more power than the federal government. They believed they were the chief protector of individuals' rights. And they were basically made up of small-time farmers and Baptists. Federalists were mostly made up of merchants and businessmen. And that's the end of the Articles of Confederation. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye.